Hello, my dear students. I welcome you all today for the next lecture. We are going to start a new chapter over here, a very important chapter. Before that, I welcome you all and wish you the best of the day, whichever time you are watching this video. Okay, my dear students. So, I am going to start a new chapter. The name of the chapter is Circle. A very important chapter, and the first exercise is very easy. Actually, it is not only easy, it also guides you and tries to make your basics of the chapter circle, topic circle, easy. Just to start with, my dear students, when it comes to circle, what is a circle? You know that you are actually tracing from this center. You are tracing a circle means you are doing what? From this center, from the center here, if supposing this is the center, from this center you are trying to trace all the points which are at an equal distance. These points which are at equal distance from this center, when you connect all these points together, these are all infinite number of points, my dear students. These are all basically infinite number of points which are at an equal distance from the center of the circle. If we connect all these points, or we actually draw each and every point, it's not that connecting. See, if I'm trying to connect these 2 points, then actually in this, between these points also there are infinite number of points. If I decide to draw each and every point which is equidistant from the center of the circle, or from which are equidistant from a point, from a point, then actually what I draw is a circle. This becomes a circle, and then I have to trace. So this is a circle which has a center. Now this circle, what does this? The moment you draw this circle, what it does? This was my plane, one plane. Plane means Plane. This plane means a surface which is a flat surface is called as a plane, one plane. Don't confuse this plane with plane, plane. Plane means, again, this plane is different. When a ground is plane, that is called as leveled in one level, then we say it is plane. But this plane is basically a circle, a surface. Any surface is called as a plane. So this plane, the circle, moment you draw a circle, this circle divides this plane into 3 parts. One is the whole part which is inside the circle. This is the part which is inside the circle. As I told you while we were doing coordinate geometry, when we have a circle, then the points can be in 3 different parts. A point can be inside the circle, a point can be outside the circle, and a point can be on the circle. So likewise, the circle divides the plane into 3 different planes, 3 parts. One part is the part which is inside the circle, second part is the part which is outside the circle, and the third part is the circle itself, the points on the circle itself. Likewise, it is dividing the entire plane into 3 parts. Now coming to think about the circle. See, my dear students, when you draw a line which is connecting the center of the circle to any point on the circle, draw any line, any segment which is connecting center of the circle and a point on the circle, then this is called as radius. This segment is called as radius. And remember, radius of a circle is always congruent. If you draw any number of radius, this is OA, you take another radius, OB, OC, OD, AOE, they all will be congruent to each other. And reason is always radius of same circle. Not only same circle, if we have congruent circles, if we draw a circle of radius 3 centimeter and I draw another circle of radius 3 centimeter, even the radius of these 2 circles will also be congruent because they are radius of congruent circles. Here also OA and O dash B, OA will be congruent to O dash B. Reason is again same, my dear students, radii of same circle. And remember one more thing, when figures are congruent, then usually when congruent figures are there, the one is O, the other one is O dash. Not only then, if supposing we have got A, B, C, and you have to draw another which is congruent to them, then we will say A dash, B dash, C dash. This means that this sign is called as a dash. We consider this sign as a dash. So that means that this figure are basically congruent figures. So usually when O dash, O and O dash circle, they are resembled as congruent circles. So I hope you have understood the concept of a radius. Radius is a segment which is joining center and a point on the circle. And diameter is what? Diameter is basically, see, before understanding diameter, try to understand chord. Chord. Radius is the segment which is joining center and the point on the chord. Okay? Point on the circle. Chord is what? When you are joining, when a segment is joining 2 points on the circle. Any 2 points on the circle. This is going to be a chord. This AB is a chord. This also is a chord. Like this I can have anyone. This also is a chord. Like this I can have n number of chords, infinite number of chords. But now can you talk about this chord? See, this is also a chord which I am going to join, and it is coming like this through the center of the circle. This is also a chord. Why it is a chord? Because even now it is joining 2 points on the circle. Whenever a segment is joining 2 points on the circle, it is called as a chord. Whenever a segment is joining 2 points on the circle, segment joining 2 different points on a circle is basically a chord. This is the definition of a chord. Any circle, any 2 points, when a segment is joining, that segment, that line is called as a chord. But then there is a different chord which actually chord going through center of the circle. This is a special chord. Like this, there are innumerable number of chords which will be going from anywhere. They are all chords, but then those all special chords which are going through the center of the circle. A special chord which is going through the center of the circle. These chords are called as a diameter. This chord which is going through center of the circle, this is called as a diameter. This is called as a diameter. And remember always, diameter is always double of radius, or radius is always half of diameter. Anything you can say. Diameter is always double of radius. And remember, diameter is the longest chord. Longest chord in the circle. This is going to be the longest chord. You can't draw a chord which is longer than this. You can't draw a diameter, of course chord. You can't draw a chord which is longer than this. Diameter is going to be the longest chord of the circle. Okay, you can understand the reason behind this. Is very simple, my dear students. This is short compared to this. I can go draw a longer one. I can draw a longer one. I can draw a longer one. I can go and draw a longer one. But when the moment I am going through here, okay, this is longest among this. But if I go even forward, then now this will be shorter compared to this one. This one will be shorter to compare. Now I have again started to draw shorter lines. So this one which will be going through the center of the circle is going to be the longest chord, and that is the diameter of the circle. Remember, my dear student, this is very important again. radius I have finished, and now we come to some other things also, my dear students. See, one very important is that this region, if I see, opposing O is the center of the circle, O, A, B. This region I am talking about, O, A, B. This region, it looks like a nice piece of cake which we usually have in during birthdays. Okay, usually this is the shape of the piece that we get. This is what? This is a sector. This is a sector. Remember, very important. Sector is what? What actually, now see, try to understand the language. This is the arc. This is an arc AB. Arc, why? Because it is a part of the circumference. You just cut a circumference. This is an arc. It is not a straight line. It is a curved path. So this is called as an arc. When an arc subtends an angle, see, try to understand this language. Subtends. Subtends, what does this mean? It is not only arc. Even if supposing one line is there, when it is from the two end points of the line, when from the two end points of the line, when a line is short and those two lines go and meet anywhere, then we say that this angle is subtended by this segment. Subtended. This angle, who is subtended? The angle is, this angle is subtended by this line. Or I can say this line subtends this angle. Okay, line or segment PQ subtends angle POQ. Remember, from the end points of segment PQ, an angle is short. So, or the angle is formed. Then I say angle POQ is subtended by segment PQ. Or I can say segment PQ subtends angle POQ. It is just change of voice that we have done in English grammar. Change of voice. Nothing more than that. Segment PQ subtends angle POQ. Or angle POQ is subtended by segment PQ. What I want you all to understand the meaning of subtend. Subtend is when from the two end points, anything, it can be a line, it can be an arc. When from the line, it can be anywhere. When a line segment is from the end points of the line segment, remember, it has to be from the end points. You can't take from in between. You can't shoot an angle from here and then say that this angle is subtended by PQ. No. When the end points of the any segment or any arc is shooting an angle to be formed anywhere up, then we say it is angle subtended by that segment. I am just explaining you the meaning of the word subtend. But there is not only that much. See, when the arc, see now my dear students, when an arc subtends an angle at the center of the circle, that also is remembered. Here while subtending, I did not give you the address where the angle is subtended. The angle can be subtended as long as it is formed anywhere. Then we are telling that it is the angle subtended, the meaning of subtend. But I am now explaining you the meaning of sector. In sector, two conditions are supposed to be there. One, the arc should subtend an angle. Arc should subtend an angle. Second, it should subtend an angle at the center. The angle which is shot from here should be formed over here at the center. Then the region enclosed by the angle subtended and the arc itself, this region is called as the sector. Remember my dear students, sector is made up of two radius and arc. Okay, and this angle which we don't know, but it is normally labeled as theta. Theta plays a very important role in geometry of circle. This angle which is subtended by this arc plays a very important role. So this is the sector. Now when this arc, I consider another arc, supposing this is arc x, y. When the end points of the arc are described by a chord, so this region now is called as segment. This region is called as a segment. Remember, my dear students. See, xy will be chord. Only xy I tell, then it will be chord xy. Chord xy. Arc xy will be this arc xy. And the region between arc xy and chord xy, this region will be called as segment. Okay, and this region is called as sector. Okay, my dear students, I hope I have completed. If anything else is remaining in the basics, I will definitely, when we do the exercise, I will try to explain you as much as possible. Basics never end up, my dear students. They never end up. You have to be very strong with them and you have to think a lot on them. I request you all people to get your textbooks with you because this will not be clearly visible. I am going to start with exercise 10.1. Question number 1, first sub question. I am going to, maybe I will only write the answers or maybe I will not even write the answers. But you will have to see this. Fill in the blanks. Very easy. 10.1 is filled of only 6 fill in the blanks. The center of a circle lies in dash of the circle. Exterior or interior. Of course, I told you circle divides into interior and exterior parts. Center always lies in the interior of the circle. Okay, there is no confusion. Remember, the basics of this is what? A circle always has, this is the interior part, that is the exterior part, and part on the circle. Circle always divides plane into 3 different areas. This is the interior plane and center will always be in the interior of the circle. A point whose distance from the center of the circle is greater than its radius lies in the dash of the circle. So see, try to understand. If there is, this is the distance of the radius, always the radius is going to be this distance. And if you take a point which is at a distance greater than the radius, greater than radius means you have to extend over here. Greater than radius means you have to extend over here. Greater than radius means you have to extend in some part. Whatever if you extend greater than the circle, greater than the radius, then definitely that point is going to lie in the exterior of the circle. It cannot lie in the interior of the circle. 2 questions can be possibly framed over here. One is, when you take a point which is at a distance lesser than the radius, take a point which is at whose distance from the center of the circle is lesser than the radius. If it is lesser than the radius, then the point will be lying in the interior of the circle. Okay, lesser than the radius means you will come down. This will be lying in the interior of the circle. And if you take a point which is whose distance from the center of the circle is greater than the radius, then it will be lying in the exterior of the circle. Okay. The longest chord of the circle is a dash of a circle. Longest chord, I told you all people, my dear students, is a diameter of a circle. Very, very, very important. Diameter of a circle. An arc, see, remember, diameter has got a very big role to play. Actually radius also, but diameter has a very big role to play. Diameter is that chord which divides the circle into 2 equal parts. Remember that. This is called as a semicircle. This will be done only by the diameter of a circle. To divide this circle into two half circles, you will have to draw a diameter anywhere. Even if I want to draw like this, when I draw a diameter, then it will divide circle into 2 different halves, 2 equal halves. This is one semicircle, this is another semicircle. And one more important thing, my dear students. As I told you, the meaning of the subtend angle. Now I am telling you because it is coming. As I told you, as we go forward, I will be trying to clearing the more and more basics. So try to understand this. You have to remember for your lifetime, my dear students. At least for those students who are going to deal with maths or are going to take science as their subject. or anywhere they are going to have architecture or anything which is related to maths. This diameter, when it subtends an angle on the circle, see when you take an arc, I told you now, when we want to draw a sector, I told you this arc has to subtend an angle at the center, then it is a sector. Why I told you at the center? Because this arc can even subtend an angle on the circle like this, or it can subtend an angle outside the circle also like this, or it can subtend an angle inside the circle also like this. The arc or a chord or a segment, whatever you say, can subtend angles in numerous places. But we want only that angle which is subtended at the center. Then this will be called as a sector. Otherwise, no. Rest all are not sectors. Okay. Similarly, this diameter also can subtend an angle on the circle. See, I am not talking about this angle subtended, possibly subtended in the circle or possibly subtended outside the circle. I am talking about angle subtended on the circle. If a diameter subtends any angle on the circle, if you will see this angle, it will be always 90 degree. Diameter always subtends 90 degree on the circle. Remember, on the circle. So diameter goes to play a very important role. Okay, now coming back to our topic. Fourth one, an arc is a dash when it ends of a diameter. Of course, see now, when the arc, now this is an arc, like this we have got, this is also this is an arc, or from this is also an arc. They are telling arc is a dash when it ends. Like supposing if one more circle I am drawing and telling you, explaining you, I am drawn this circle, and if I take an arc, I can take arc from here till here and stop. I can take an arc from here till here and stop. But they are telling take an arc when its ends are ends of diameter. Means this end and this end are these ends of a diameter. If I draw this will not be a diameter, this will be a chord. I will make a diameter and then I will make an arc which starts from this end of a diameter and goes to other end of a diameter. So now I can say ends of this arc are the ends of a diameter also. So this arc is what? This is a semicircle. This is going to be a semicircle, half circle, whatever you feel, semicircle. An arc is a semicircle, okay? Segment of a circle is the region between an arc. Now segment of a circle is a region between an arc. Segment is what I told you all people, between an arc and chord of the circle and chord. The region between the arc and chord, this will be called as segment. Okay, going to the sixth one. A circle divides the plane on which it lies in three parts. I told you all people, whenever a circle is lying, it will divide the plane into three parts. This is one part which is interior, one part which is exterior, and the third part which is on the circle. So it divides the plane into three parts. Question number 2, true or false? Line segment joining the center. Line segment joining the center to any point on the circle, okay, is a radius of the circle, right? This is true. This is by definition, which is the line segment which is joining the center and any part on the circle. This is the radius of the circle. Try to understand the language, my dear students. The language of maths is very important. A circle has only finite number of equal chords. So what does the question mean to ask you is that if I draw a circle and if I draw chords, like supposing I have decided to draw a chord of 3 centimeter, that means I'll take a point over here, and from here if I go to draw 3 centimeter, this will be 1, this will be 2, this will be supposing 3 centimeter. Like this, how many 3 centimeter chords can I draw if I decide? Are this much only? No. If I can start from here also, I can start from here also, I can start from here also, I can start from here also. In this also I can start any point. In this region also, I can start from here, I'll get 3 centimeter here. I can start from here, I'll get 3 centimeter here. I'll start from here, I'll get 3 centimeter over here. I'll start from here, I'll get 3 centimeter over here. See, this feels infinite. You cannot actually have limited number of chords. Okay, a circle has only finite number of equal chords. So no, false. It has infinite number of equal chords. You have to write everything. They have infinite number of equal chords. Third one, a circle is divided into 3 equal arcs. Each is a major arc. 3 equal arcs. See, if a circle is divided into, first of all, what is a complete arc of a circle? Try to understand this. When you draw a complete arc of this is an arc. An arc is always measured in degrees. Remember, arc is different and length is different. They are two different things. They are not equal. Arc is basically when you are taking over here and you are moving this, then up to this you are moving by how much? This you are moving by how much? This movement is by how much? This is called as angular movement, because now you are going to take an angle. You are going to frame an angle. You will have to take a protractor D and then you will go on framing an angle. When you measure the movement of this angle, then we are measuring arc. And when you are actually only measuring this distance, means you will try to straighten this. This is bent. Instead of bent, you try to straighten this like this and then try to measure this. Then you are measuring the length of the arc. Length of the arc and measure of arc. Length of arc and measure of arc are two different things. Remember, my dear student, length of arc is actually you are measuring the length. And supposing if this is the arc, what from here to here, if this is the arc, if I make it straight, instead of making it like this, I straighten it and make it like this. Then what is this length? That is called as length of the arc. Means you are actually counting, you are measuring the circumference over there. Okay, if we have got a rod, a very thin rod, if I cut this rod and I open this rod and straighten it, from here I straighten it, and from here also I straighten it. This I straighten it, then it becomes a long rod. This is the length of the rod, and which is also called as the length of the circumference. This is the length of the circumference. But when I tell measure of the arc, instead of taking this length, what I am trying to do is that I will try to measure this point, and this from this center, how much distance I have to go on measuring like this, what is the motion that I have to go to, this motion, I am talking about this motion, how much motion I have to take. This is called as measure of arc, and this will be measured in angle. What is the angle that I am going through? How much angle I have gone through? See, if I am going actually like this, a quarter of a coordinate system, so this is going to be arc. Measure of this arc will be 90 degree, because to trace this arc I have moved 90 degree over here. Then the measure of this arc will be 90 degree. Length of this arc will be, again I have to straighten this, or I will have to take the circumference of this and divide that circumference into 4 parts, because this is going to be 4 parts, 4 equal parts. Length is different and measure is different. Measure means for that arc, if I am going to, again I am repeating, and sorry for those who have understood, but for those who have not understood, if this is the arc, from this end point I am moving my angle to this end point, and how much angle I have travelled, what is the angle that I have gone through, that is called as the measure of the arc. Length of the arc is different. Okay, fine, my dear students. So that is the basic difference between measure of the arc and length of the arc. You have to remember this, very important. Now when they tell you this in this question number 3, what is the angular measure of the circle? See, if I start from here and I go on measuring this arc up to here, it will be 180 degree complete, 180 degree, again 180 degree, complete measure of a circle, angular measure of circle, angular measure of circle is always 360 degree. Remember, it is very simple. Half circle means half d. This is half d. Half d, this is d, है ना? This is your d, and this is always 180 degree. 180 degree over here, 180 degree over here. Total 360 degree is the measure of the circle. In the question number 3, they have told that this measure is going to be divided into 3 equal parts. So 360 degree is going to be divided into 3 equal parts. I divide this by 3, I get 3 1s are 3, 3 2s are 0, 0 is 0. So then I will get what? 120 degree ka one arc, one sector of 120 degree. If this is the case, this is the case, this is the case. This will be 120 degree, this will be 120 degree, this will be 120 degree. Like this I have divided them into, if a circle into 3 equal arcs, this will be 3 equal arcs. Will this be, any of this will be a major arc? No. Major arc is when it is more than major arc. See, these are 2 equal arcs. These are 2 equal arcs. This is a minor arc. This is a minor arc and this is a major arc. When I call a minor or the major, when actually speaking, the measure of an arc is more than 180 degree. When the measure of an arc, when I make an arc which can measure, I make an arc which can measure more than 180 degree, this arc, it can measure more than 180 degree, then I will say it is a major arc, major, bigger arc. And anything that can measure less than 180 degree, that is called as minor arc. So the moment I am making 2 equal arcs, 3 equal arcs, I am going to make arcs of 120 degree, 120 degree, 120 degree. I can't have anything more than that. So these all 3 are going to be anyway be minor arc. There cannot be a major arc over here. So again a basic over here, any arc who has got measure less than 180 degree is a minor arc. When an arc has measure more than 180 degree, it is a major arc. This is again false. All 3 will be minor arcs. Okay, fine. Then we go to the 4th question. A chord of a circle which is twice as long as its radius is a diameter. Yes, diameter is 2 times the radius. Fine. Sector is a region. Sector is a region between the chord. No, sector doesn't have a chord anywhere. Let's go forward. And its corresponding arc. No, this will be segment. है ना? Between a chord and its corresponding arc. This will be segment. No, false. Right? This is a segment. Is a region between the chord and the corresponding arc. Fine. 6th one, a circle is a plane figure. Yes, definitely it is a plane figure. It is a plane figure in the sense plane. It is a surface. Okay, my dear students, with this I suppose we have done this exercise 10.1 and soon I'll come back with exercise 10.2, or should I? Okay, I'll do it now itself because it's okay. We can do it together. See, in 10.2 what they are asking us to do is that they are asking us to prove. First of all, what they have told here is that recall that 2 circles are congruent if they have same radii. Fine? They are congruent if they have same radii. That means they are the circles having same radii. They are congruent. Okay, forget. This is a different step. Now they are asking us prove that equal chords of a congruent circles subtend equal angles at the center. This is the actual thing that we have to prove. Equal, what is given? Prove that. What is given? What? Equal chords of congruent circles. This is given to us. That there are 2 circles which are congruent and you are taking equal chords. Then what will happen? They will subtend equal angles at their centers. This we have to prove. So when we go to draw this diagram, I am going to exercise 10.2, my dear students. Exercise 10 point. Here what happens, they have given me, I'll again prove that equal chords of a congruent circle. So here basically there are two circles which are congruent. Fine. There are two circles which are congruent, somewhat of this sort. They are congruent circles. So I will draw this as O and draw this as O dash. Fine. Label this as O and label this as O dash. So they are congruent circles. So here we in given we will have, okay fine, O and O dash. This O is wrongly labeled, it should have been over here somewhere. Now prove that equal chords of congruent circle. So we will be taking equal chords from here to here one chord and from here to here one chord. That means this is chord AB which is congruent to chord PQ. Okay, so AB is congruent to PQ. This is given to you, and circle with centers O and O dash are congruent. These two circles are congruent. This is they are telling, if they are, prove that equal chords of a congruent circle AB and PQ are equal chords of a congruent circle, they subtend equal angle. Now here this is the angle which is subtended from here to here, right? Fine. So AOB, this is an angle, we have to prove this. This angle AOB, see remember this is the subtended angle O, so O should come in middle, will be congruent to this angle PO dash Q. This we have to prove. These are the angles which are subtended, try to understand, and that O should be in the middle. This O dash is the angle subtended at the center by the chord PQ. Try to understand this language. This language is very, very, very important. PQ is the chord which is subtending angle PO dash Q. This should come in middle. This corner is the subtended angle. This vertex is the subtended angle. So it should be called as this O dash should come in middle. PO dash Q will be the angle subtended. Here O is the corner which is the vertex which is subtended by segment AB. So angle AOB is the angle subtended, and these angles are congruent. That is what we have to prove. Now going back to the basics, my dear student, this is what you have to understand. We have done this in the older chapters. When we have to prove these two angles are congruent, then what we should do? We should separate them into two different triangles. Try to prove the two triangles are congruent, and if the two triangles are congruent, then the angles are congruent by CPCT. We have done this. So what I will do over here is I will separate them into two different angles. This is one angle and this is another angle. Can I prove these two triangles congruent? See, OA will be congruent to O dash P. See, remember, I'm sorry if I am confusing you. See, OA is congruent to OB is also possible because they are radii of the same circle. OA congruent to OB. But I want to prove the triangles are congruent. So one side of this triangle and the other side of the other triangle should be taken. So when I am taking OA, should be congruent to what? So I should choose a side of the other triangle. So OA is congruent to OP. Why? Because radii of same circle, congruent circles. They are radii of congruent circles. It is given they are congruent. Similarly, OB will be congruent to O dash Q because they are also radii of the congruent circles. And AB is congruent to PQ is given. So the two triangles are congruent by SSS criteria. Bas, that's what is needed in triangle AOB and triangle PO dash Q. What are we getting? AO is congruent to PO dash. Fine. Also BO is congruent to QO dash. For which both the reason is radii of congruent circles are congruent. Okay, so this is done. Then we have got AB is congruent to PQ. This is why, because it is given. Therefore, triangle AOB is congruent to triangle PO dash Q. Reason SSS criteria. Fine. Therefore, angle AOB is congruent to angle PO dash Q. CPCT. That's all. Finished. Okay. This is question number 1, example 1, whatever it is. Now we go to the next question. I hope this is very clear, very easy. No confusion as such, my dear students. Okay. Very easy, not at all. So now I go to the next question. In the next question, what they are telling? Prove that if chords of congruent circles subtend equal angles at the center, then the chords are equal. Exactly ulta of this. See, exactly replica of this. Actually speaking, I should have. See, I will purposely draw over here and then you will have to adjust it, my dear students. See, what are they telling? Here, equal chords subtend equal angles at the center. Means chords are equal is given. And here what they are telling, prove that if chords of congruent circle, so these are congruent circles even now. So this is O, this is O dash. They are even now congruent circle. If the chords of congruent circle, some chords, now here they have not told equal chords. Chords of congruent circle. These are the chords of congruent circles and they are subtending equal angles at the center. They are subtending equal angles at the center. That means these angles are equal. Okay, even now this is A, B, P, Q. If this chord AB and this chord PQ is subtending equal angle at the center, now they have told the angles subtended are equal, then the chords are equal. You have to prove. You have to prove this. Exactly replica of this. Exactly ulta of this. So here in this case, in given we will have circles with center O and O dash are congruent. This is important. And they have given angle AOB is congruent to angle PO dash Q. Exactly ulta. Here we had to prove this. And here they have given this. To prove what? Then the chords are equal. We have to prove the chords are equal. That means AB is congruent to PQ. We have to prove this. This was given over here. See, the language is important. Only if you will understand the language, then you will be able to understand which question you are solving. Try to understand the language. And this again is same, my dear students. Again we have to separate this AB and PQ into two different triangles. Triangle AOB and triangle PO dash Q. Prove the two triangles are congruent. So here what will I do? In triangle AOB and triangle PO dash Q, what will I have? AO is congruent to PO dash, BO is congruent to QO dash. For this reason, radii of congruent circles are congruent. This is there, and then you will tell angle AOB is congruent to angle PO dash Q, because this is given to you. This is given to you. Therefore, triangle AOB is congruent to triangle PO dash Q. But this time reason is this side angle side SAS criteria. Therefore AB is congruent to PQ because CPCT. Like this it will go, my dear students. Okay. So there were only 2 questions, that's why I just dared to complete the 2 exercises together, 10.1, 10.2. I hope they are all easy, no problem. Exercise 10.3, I can start exercise 10.3 because it's not, that does not look like, draw different parts of pairs of circles. How many, say different pairs of circles, pairs means 2 circles, different, okay, different pairs of circles. If I go to draw different pairs of circle, one pair will be how? See, there are 2 circles which will be entirely different from each other, or there can be circles which will be touching each other, my dear students. They will be touching each other. Of course, one can be big, one can be small. There is no condition on that. And then there can be intersecting circles. The circles can be intersecting like this. I am drawing a freehand drawing, but you all people, please draw it with the help of compass. Don't do like this what I am doing. Okay. Draw different pairs of circles. These are 3 pairs. How many points does each pair have in common? So here no point in common. Here only 1 point in common. Here 2 points will be there in common. And this point are present on this circle or this circle. This point is present, this circle or this circle. So 2 points in common. When 2 circles are there, only and only, remember that, if we have got circles which are overlapping with each other, only then they will be having infinite number of congruent points. But like this we can't draw. Okay. What is the maximum number of common points? The 2 are the maximum number of common points. Suppose you are given a circle, give a construction to find its center. So supposing this is the circle that is given to me. This is very easy, my dear students. Suppose we are given a circle, so I'll take a good circle. What we have to do, suppose we are given a circle, so this is the circle. So what will you do? First we will draw 2 chords. Draw chords AP and PQ. Okay. So I hope you all are getting this. AP and PQ means P is going to be a common point. Fine. AP and PQ. So this is going to be a common point P, AP and PQ. One point should be a common point. That is the condition. Okay. AP and PQ. This is my AP, PQ. And then draw draw perpendicular bisectors of AP and PQ both. You have to draw perpendicular bisectors of AP and PQ both. See, perpendicular bisector means, actually speaking, from this, if supposing this is the segment, actually try to understand this, my dear students. When you are drawing perpendicular bisectors, so you have to understand how the figure is changing. When I am going to draw a perpendicular bisector of this chord, I am drawing this. You should not draw like this. Just for you all people to understand, you are not there in front of me, that's why I am doing all these things. See, I have to only concentrate on this chord, circle, and this another chord, and this center. They are all, I have to be oblivious towards them. I have to ignore them completely. They are not existing. For me, what is existing? Only this chord. So when this chord, I am going to draw perpendicular bisector of this chord, I have to consider only the end points of this chord. So what is the end point of this chord? This is an end point and this is the end point. I will take a arc which is at a considerable distance from, just a minute, which is which is greater than this, more than the half. So basically I'll make an arc up and I'll make an arc over here, opposite side. You have to be very precise about these arcs. Don't draw it anywhere, either, no, you have to draw them exactly on the middle. Wherever this middle is there and a 90-degree perpendicular is going over there, because only then they will intersect. They don't intersect everywhere. They don't, and you are not supposed to change this measure of the arc also. See, now they are not going to intersect here, so I will have to go back over here and then draw them intersecting. See, they will not intersect anywhere here. They will intersect only in two different points, and you have to trace them properly. You are not supposed to, once you have drawn one arc, then you cannot change the measure of the compass, and then you have to draw these two intersecting arcs. You have to connect. This is your one perpendicular bisector, fine. And then you have to go and trace another perpendicular bisector. So now my next chord is this one. This one I take as my next chord. There are only two chords, okay, right? So this is my next chord. So here what I do is that again I will concentrate on that only. So what I will do, now I can again change now. Okay, I can take it anywhere more than half. But once I draw one arc, now I cannot change this compass. I will have to go with this compass only for the other side of the segment and cut it over there, cut it over here, and now I will have to connect this both. So if I go to connect this both like this, these two I should draw perpendicular bisector of AP and PQ. Where these two bisectors, see, this is one perpendicular bisector, this is one perpendicular. The point of intersection of the two perpendicular bisectors is the center of the circle. Wherever these two perpendicular bisectors they intersect, this is going to be my center of the circle. This is my O. I label it, and now my labeling should be there. One is A, P, PQ. I drew perpendicular bisector, so this is 90-degree bisector. This is also perpendicular bisector, this is also 90-degree, and this is also bisector. So I will make 2 points over here like this, and now I will require to draw the arrowheads. These are the arrowheads, fine. And now this is my diagram complete. Okay, my dear students, so with this I have finished question number 2. If two circles intersect at 2 points, prove that their centers lie on the perpendicular bisector of the common chord. This is the first long question, a lengthy question or a lengthy proof that we are supposed to do. Question number 3. What is that? See, in question number 3 what they have told is that if two circles intersect at 2 points, so these are 2 circles which are intersecting, fine, like this, sorry. If these are 2 circles which are intersecting at 2 points, then this is the point of intersection. No, this is not a very good. This is not a very good diagram. I will draw one more. See, there are 2 circles they are telling. So this one is supposingly my one circle. Okay, this is my center, and I take one more circle. I will purposely take one more which is greater, and now this, if I cut it, this cuts over here, I will go slightly far. This is okay distance. So these are 2 circles which are intersecting, fine. बहुत बड़ा हो गया, चलेगा, अभी बना दिया तो बना दिया. So these are the two intersecting circles. So now these are there. If two circles intersect at 2 points, prove that their centers, this is their centers O and this is the center Q. These centers lie on the perpendicular bisector of the common chord. That means this is the common chord, supposing A, B. If I draw a perpendicular bisector of this, means basically we have to prove that OQ is the perpendicular bisector of AB, that's all. So here in given what we will have, you have got nothing actually speaking, you just have nothing. Circle with center O and Q intersect at A and B. That's all what is given. Bas, that's all. You have to prove. No other property as such. To prove OQ perpendicularly bisects AB. Means actually speaking we have to prove two things. One is OQ is perpendicular, one is, see this is not there in the question, not the part of the solution. OQ is perpendicular to AB we have to prove, and also I will require this, I will require one more, AB D. Also AD is congruent to BD. This will be required because OQ is perpendicularly bisecting AB. That means AB will be cut into two equal parts. Okay, these two things I have to prove. Perpendicular bisector. Bisector means cutting into two equal parts. I hope I am clear. This is slightly, but you have to understand OQ perpendicularly bisects AB. So perpendicular to is there, and also that AB is cut into two equal parts. That means AD is equal to BD. This I have to prove. So in this case what I will have to do is that I will first have to draw this. See basically why I am requiring this. See if I consider about चलो ठीक है, forget, we'll go by the lengthy way only. See here, if I go to prove these two triangles are congruent, triangle AOD and triangle BOD, this is the perfect combination. If I prove these two triangles are congruent, I am free to say AD is congruent to BD, CPCT, and my one part is over. And afterwards, what for 90 degree what I will have to do, I will also have to tell angle AD ODA is congruent to angle ODB. These two angles are also congruent, CPCT, and then apply angles in linear pair over here. They will be 90 degree. But for that first I have to prove these two triangles are congruent. For that OA is congruent to OB, radii of same circle will be there. OD is congruent to OD, common side will be there. What next? No, we can't do this. We don't have that. So what we will have to do is that we will have to take this triangle, see if I take in triangle OAQ and triangle OBQ, this complete full triangle I am talking about, OAQ and triangle OBQ. First I will take this triangle. In this triangle I will definitely have OA is congruent to OB, also QA is congruent to QB, because they are radii of same circle. They are radii of same circle. OA and OB are radii of same circle, QA and QB are radii of same circle, and now I will also have OQ is congruent to OQ because common side. Therefore triangle OAQ is congruent to triangle OBQ by SSS criteria. Now when I get this, now I will tell, therefore angle AOQ is congruent to angle BOQ because CPCT. See these two triangles, these angles. I am talking about these angles. AOQ and BOQ, but this angle AOQ, my concern is this triangle. Remember, these smaller triangles are my concern. Therefore angle AOD I will tell, angle AOD is congruent to angle BOD because they are same angles, different names. These angles are same, angle AOQ and angle AOD are same, angle BOQ and angle BOD are same, but names are different. So this is over. Now this is my in triangle AOD and triangle BOD. Now I can tell everything. OA is congruent to OB, radii of same circle, and then I will have angle AOD is congruent to angle BOD. This is from 1, and I will have OD is congruent to OD, common side. Therefore triangle AOD is congruent to triangle BOD, SAS criteria, SAS criteria. Therefore now I will take two things. AD is congruent to BD, second CPCT. Also I will tell angle ODA is congruent to angle ODB. These both are CPCT. Now I will apply angle ODA plus angle ODB is equal to 180 degree. You can see this angle ODA, this is angle ODA, this angle plus angle this ODB will be a complete semicircle. Angles in linear pair, straight line. Reason is angles in linear pair, but then they are congruent. 2 angle ODA is equal to 180 degree, angle ODA is equal to 180 upon 2, angle ODA is equal to angle ODB is equal to 90 degree. So now these are 90 degree. As I told you, I have to prove this 90 degree and AD is congruent to BB. So therefore from 1 and 2, what do I get is, from 1 and 2, OQ perpendicularly bisects AB. Hence proved. Okay, my dear students, this is quite not that difficult as we feel like, but definitely this is the first lengthy question that we have gone through, and I hope I have explained it well. If you have any doubt about this also, you can definitely put in. And with this we have finished with exercise 10.3. Yes, we have finished with exercise 10.3. 10.4, 5. 2 more exercises to go. Okay, my dear students, circle is a topic which is slightly linked and very important from board's point of view. So with this we finish today's lecture, and soon we'll get back. Okay, my dear students, so 10.1, 10.2, 10.3 completed. See you all soon. Stay home, stay safe, and of course stay happy, my dear students. Love you all. See you all soon. Bye for today.